I feel like great art, you're just like, this is too perfect and imperfect, and how did this actually come about?
You know, it's about leaving room for this rhythmic genius.
That second verse, where he's literally doing tom fills.
I know it's illegal, I don't think about it, I deposit every other zero, thinking of my partner, put the candy painting on the Musicians React.
Hello and welcome back to Professional Musicians React. Thank you so much for sending in your recommendations. We love getting them.
We haven't done a lot of hip hop on this show so far.
Nope.
Today we're diving into two hip hop tunes. We got All Right by Kendrick Lamar, and we got Real Friends by Kanye.
Which you actually
Co-produced.
You co-produced this?
Yes.
Kanye. Holy shit.
And this is Darren King. Darren is part of Scary Pool Party, PJ Morton, founding member of UTMath, also with the band Sucre with his wife Stacey Dupree, and did actual production on Kanye's Real Friends.
And Jack Conte, you are co-founder of the band Scary Pockets, and Papamoose, also CEO of Patreon. We got Tim Sonnenfeld there in the booth. Tim is a Grammy Award-winning producer, engineer, multi-instrumentalist, and arranger. He's worked with Papamoose, Usher, Rancid, and Elvis Costello.
And this is Ryan Lerman, my partner in crime in Scary Pockets, co-founder of Scary Pockets, and best friend for many, many years. Ryan has played with Ben Folds, played with John Legend, played with Michael Bublé, and is a wonderful guitar player.
Okay, guys, what is a great hip-hop record that you've heard recently?
Oh, recently.
What's the last great hip-hop record? Lil Sims.
Is an amazing woman.
Oh,
she's
cool.
incredible. It came out this year.
Naija women got the melanin dripping. L-O-N-D-O-N-C-E girl living in the back looking like fire chili pepper.
I'm gonna go with an oldie but a goodie. Southern Fried by Killer Mike.
Welcome to this country 5 bonafide, and my flow is sweet as a potato pie. Never been a sour apple, I'm an hour later guy.
I'm gonna go To Pimp a Butterfly. I just think it's such a masterpiece. And throughout, just from artwork to the way that it sounds, to the playing, to everything.
Bitch, where you and I was walking. Now I run the game, got the whole world talking. King Kunta, everybody wanna cut the legs off him. Kunta, black man taking no losses.
Oh, one of the greatest records of all time?
Of all time.
That.
Of all time. Yeah.
I really think it is. It's such an honest self-portrait and such a hard look at one's self from his own perspective. And it's just heart-wrenching and beautiful and creative. What an amazing record.
All right, the first song, Kendrick Lamar. All right, Tim, tell us about this song.
All Right was released to radio stations as To Pimp a Butterfly's fourth single, June 30th, 2015. Most music publications considered it among the best songs and videos of the year, of course, highlighting their message in the social context of the time. Several contemporary progressive news outlets, including BET, raised the idea of it being the modern black national anthem. All Right received 4 nominations at the 58th Grammy Awards: Song of the Year, Best Music Video, Best Rap Performance, Best Rap Song, winning the latter 2. It was also nominated for an MTV Music Award for Video of the Year. All Right was written by Kawan Prather, Kendrick Lamar, Pharrell, and Soundwave. James, the White Black Man Hunt did the recording, while Derek, mixed by Ali, did the mix. Terrence Martin played alto sax, Pharrell produced the song and did some background vocals, and Candace Wakefield and Stephen Thundercat Bruner lended additional background vocals.
I actually didn't know that Pharrell had worked on this. I should have known that.
Yeah, cool. Let's take a listen.
Here we go.
All's my life I has to fight. All's my life hard times like bad trips like Nazareth, I'm f***ed up, homie, you f***ed up, but if God got us, then we gon' be alright.
We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Huh? We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright.
And when I wake up, I recognize you looking at me for the pay cut. Bahamas, I be looking at you from the face down. One Mac 11, even boom with the bass down. Scheming, and let me tell you about my life. Painkillers only put me in the twilight. We're pretty Benjamin is the highlight. I tell my mama I love her, but this what I like. Lord knows, 20 of them in my Chevy. Tell them all to come and get me, reaping everything I sow. So my karma come in heaven, no preliminary hearings on my record. I'm a gangster in silence for the record.
Oh my God.
Where do we start?
There's
It's a
so
masterpiece.
much.
Yeah,
There's so
it's-
much
He's a
happening.
genius.
He is a genius.
I would start by asking you about there's every single thing about music is happening perfectly the whole time, in the entire song. To me,
That's such a great
everything's
way
so
to put
good.
it.
The track, it feels like is there a 5? I'm trying to think about how to count what the chords are doing and how they're falling over the drums because it's fascinating to me. If you could play it one more time, would you mind?
Yeah, you're right. There's something weird with the.
5.
Yes, you're right. The harmonic rhythm is different, obviously, than the time, which is in 4. Right? It's in 4 with that kind of halftime
Yeah.
feel. But the harmonic rhythm is the kind of the changes are happening in different places. Let's hear where those changes are happening. That's a really good call out.
We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Huh? We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright.
And when I wake up, I recognize you.
In the harmony is da 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 for just a second.
Right.
Right? Listen to this.
All's my life I has to fight. All's my life hard times like bad trips like Nazareth, I'm f***ed up, homie, you f***ed up. But if God got us, then we go.
Right there.
But if God got us, then If God got us, then we go be alright.
Like, it's almost like horrific.
Yeah.
That it's like a major minor 7 kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's creepy.
So from the drums perspective, one thing that's important, I think, about what they do here, that Pharrell's a genius about, the quarter notes on the hi-hat instead of
Yeah.
you know, instead of
Yes.
because Kendrick is the hi-hats. Kendrick is doing.
Right.
Kendrick's a whole drum corps of accent and every possible. You know, it's about leaving room for this rhythmic genius to do his thing.
Plus that hi-hat grounds the entire song. You know,
Yeah.
everything's floating around it in such a beautiful way.
Yeah.
And it's just keeping the whole ship together. Yeah.
The hi-hat is the timekeeper. Kendrick is the drum kit.
Yeah.
That second verse where he's literally doing tom fills with his like it sounds like
I can see the evil, I can tell it. I know it's illegal. I don't think about it. I deposit every other zero. Thinking of my partner, put the candy painting on the Rico, digging in my pocket. In a profit big enough to feed you every day. My logic.
oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's even doing the do do goo 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 gee goo goo gee goo goo. He's doing like, what is that called in what is that rhythm called when you're? It's like these weird polyrhythms where the accent note keeps changing in terms of where it fits in the measure.
It's insane.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So that whole verse right there to me is the greatest. It's my favorite verse, I think, of anything in all time from a rhythmic standpoint. And then what he says, he ends that verse with the line, "My rights, my wrongs, I'll right till I'm right with God," which to me is the most incredible thesis statement, right? Everything that he's saying in this song, he sums up in this one perfect line that he gives a break to. I don't know how much y'all dig into the lyrics when you talk about these things too, but I think it's a lyrical masterpiece as well, is all I'm saying. It's a guy who is completely aligned with his identity and integrity and who he wants to say. He's talking about his sins. He's talking about the sins that have been done against him at the same time in an incredibly powerful way, I think.
Yeah, it's very hard for me to talk about these lyrics. I feel like I can't do them justice as a white person.
Like, well, the white guys are like, well, what Kendrick's doing here, actually. All I'm saying is that I think it's incredible. My rights, my wrongs, I'll right till I'm right. And then the way the folks, just press play.
Rap, I'm black on tracks, so rest assured. My rights, my wrongs, I right till I'm right with God. When you know.
Yeah, and then that flow at the same time, that to me is one of the most incredible musical moments right there.
Yes, can we
And
listen
that
to
other
that
rhythm
fill
too,
again? Yeah.
That's sick.
Can we hear that fill again? Coming
Right,
out
no
of the chorus?
wrongs, I right till I'm right with God. When you know.
There's a thing with drumming where I feel like sometimes if you play something with one hand,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
funkier. If you can, instead of, like the editing. It's a.
Got those extra pauses between.
That's a nasty
And then
fill.
no crash on one.
Ever.
No
Yeah.
hit on one.
Don't need that.
It's just restrained completely.
Yeah.
Black on tracks, so rest assured. My rights, my wrongs, I right till I'm right with God. When you know, we been hurt, been down.
Okay, the other thing, if we're talking about drums here, listen, the programming of this snare sample. Listen to the ghost notes and the care and craftsmanship put into these ghost notes. I think a lot of time when people are programming ghost notes with a snare drum, there's like 2 volume levels and they copy paste. Ghost notes are the little in-between notes between the loud, expressive, dominant notes that give a part a groove and a feel. For example, if I were to do a drum beat that was and then I wanted to do ghost notes for the snare, that sound, I might do those are little ghost notes that just give the part a little bit more groove and feel. This sounds like just individual ghost notes were programmed in. Listen to this.
We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Huh? We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright.
Yeah.
It's really good ghost note, like very detail-oriented ghost note programming, and it's not copy-pasted. They're changing, and the volumes are changing, and the placement is changing.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this song exists at the pinnacle of everything cool happening at once.
Yeah.
The track is insane. He's amazing. What he's saying, what he's about, the time and place he's saying it, the chords, the melodies, Pharrell's production. That is prophetic. That, like, I feel like he's making music because it's kept him alive.
Yeah.
I feel like what it means to him to be in music and to be doing music is everything. And that's
You know what I think about
coming through in its
sometimes?
integrity.
Is illusion of depth. Like when you're reading a great book, like it gives you the illusion of a world, an entire world that exists. You know what I mean? Using words. It implies just like this depth. And I feel that way about this piece of art is like from, like I talked about the artwork before because it's like, is this a picture? Did they make this? Did this happen? And like how, you know what I mean? Like I feel like great art, you're just like, this is too perfect and imperfect, and how did this actually come about to be created? And with this, it's such a beautiful blend of like things that sound like, was this sampled? Is this from a record, or was this just recorded? And like, did these words always exist? Do you know what I mean? It's just like, did this come out of the earth perfectly formed?
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
When I listen to this, I'm like, oh, this is a new world.
But you feel like it's always existed.
And it's resonant.
It sounds
too.
timeless.
Yes, it sounds timeless. All right, let's go to this Kanye song. This is Real Friends. DK, you were involved in this song.
Yeah.
Can you give us the story of how this came about?
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to.
Did you meet Kanye?
Yeah, I got to work with him on 2 instances, and then a lot remotely. Through a very strange series of events, I got to go to a studio that Kanye was in, and go to the room. They were in Santa Monica. They was working on, at the time they had done that song with Paul McCartney and Rihanna, and walked into a small control room, and I had my backpack and everything, and I just remember it was Mike Dean, Noah Goldstein, Farnsworth, and a few other people. It was a really tiny room, and I walked in not realizing that Kanye was recording a vocal, and I remember he just goes, hold up, and he recorded some gibberishy vocal, and he goes, keep that, okay, and he introduced himself to me. We sat down, I was just on the couch, and I got up the courage to ask, could I play a tune for y'all? Like, could you? And he's like, yeah, absolutely.
Wait, why were you invited to the studio? did Kanye invite you to like?
The reason why is because someone I know was invited to write a comic book for him, and he wanted to write a comic book. And my friend said, I'm going to work with Kanye. Let's make a song. And so I was like, okay, let's make a tune and take it. And you can come with me. And so I just had this opportunity to go into the studio. I'm like, I'm not gonna say no. So we went and
then randomly in the studio, you were like, hey, do you want to hear a track that I produced? Oh my God, that's amazing.
incredible.
And then he used it.
They didn't use that. No, I remember they did this. I remember whenever I played my song, they were like, turn it down a little bit. So I played my song real quiet. And then they said, he was really complimentary and kind. And then he's like, can we play some of what we've been working on? I'm like, absolutely, yes. And they just played it as loud
Turn all the
as
way up.
possible. And as soon as the track came on, like he and a couple other guys were just like, performing it to me, and I was like, thank you, this is great, thank you. And I knew one of the songs had a sample that would be real hard to clear. So I remember getting Mike and Noah's contact afterward, and they asked me to basically from my home studio in Nashville to become someone that they could send tracks to and say, can you do something that sounds like this, but is new and unique, and create original samples. So they would always at midnight, I would get a text from Noah saying that Kanye wants me to do this. And one of them,
Kanye wanted him to do something.
yeah,
and
like have Darren take this vocal. Like one, they were.
So you guys bonded in the studio, and he was like, I like this guy, I like his musicality, I want him to contribute to my records.
I think that I was probably one of 12 people, or 20, who knows, being sent producer assignments. Just go do this and send it back to me. And it felt sort of like producer Olympics or like these obscure challenges. One was I got sent this vocal for a song called Wolves, just the isolated vocal, and the assignment was make it sound like Jim Morrison. How do I take Kanye's auto-tuned isolated vocal and make it sound like Jim Morrison? I just ran it through a spring reverb and sent it back. I mean, it was still sounded, you can't. And I got a text back, dope, and that was it. So I did this 12 times. I did another assignment was I got sent a sample from a real famous 90s guitar funk rock band and a Charles Mingus sample. And the assignment was, I want this guitar part, but I want it to sound like Charles Mingus. So that was the job for the day, was to do that. And then on 2 instances of these 20 or so sample creation assignments, which were super fun, sometimes the assignment was just he'd send me some vocals and make a beat. But 2 times they used my work. And one was a song called Piss on Your Grave where I did a bunch of guitar, bass, and drums for. And that became the intro for that. And then the other was this song called Real Friends, and they needed a piano interpolation for this one sample. And what they used of mine, so I did...
And wait, question for you. Are they sending you the rest of the track while you're... No, so you're just getting...
Sometimes yes, but no, oftentimes it was just a WAV file.
So you don't have context?
And a job, yeah.
You don't know arc, you don't know lyrics. They're just like, here's a sample, make it sound cool.
And I mean, I'm thrilled. I'm so excited to get to be doing this. So then on a second instance for the first day of the Life of Pablo sessions, I got to be in the studio with him on the very, very first day that they were at American Studios, and or not here, but there in LA. And so I'd met him once before. I walk in, Noah reintroduces me, and Kanye's there, and he just looks at me in the eyes. He gets like, let's murder this. That's what he says to me, like, let's murder this. I'm like, okay. And everything we did was full, like, if I'm working on something. So I only had one brief period where I was working, actually got to work in the room, but he was like, shoving you, like everything was...
He was
pumped up, like, let's
pushing
go.
you,
Let's
like
go.
on your back?
Yeah.
Like,
let's go. Yeah, like, okay, let's go. It was really fun. I mean, that's like, but it was up. Like the energy was up, you know, and like what, and he was saying, we're gonna play this in Madison Square Garden, like this is, and then he had a film crew, it was a lot. There was a lot happening.
And what were you actually playing that day? You were playing keys?
Just making samples, just on my laptop. They just had everybody. It was
How many other people in the room?
coming through. It was just a stream of, you know, you've seen that. Sadly, they started it after I was there, but there's that, you know, yellow pad of the names of everybody who was there for that session. There was a lot.
My takeaway, I guess, is two things. One, the level of collaboration involved in some of these records and the number of people and the number of disparate creative ideas mashed together to form something that no one's ever heard before, because it's just an unbelievable amount of creativity and creative ideas. The second takeaway that I have is it's a little bit like Pocket's strategy, which is try a whole bunch of shit. Most of it isn't gonna work, you know?
Yeah.
But like some things are magic. And like he probably, I mean, who knows how many producers made samples and like how many samples came in. There's probably hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. And the ones that work are just like incredibly magical. And it's that strategy of like, let's try a trillion things and a small portion of them are gonna work and we're gonna use those ones.
And the genius about Kanye is his ability to take a gajillion things and reduce them to like two things, you know, something very, very simple.
The tracks are so focused.
Yeah, they're so focused. He's just such a brilliant producer.
And the genius of Mike Dean and Noah Goldstein, both, who were collaborating on those records. I know that Kanye worked with so many great producers, but for there to be such a tornado of ambition and activity, to have to be the one to try and make a thing get finished and completed, I think is pretty astounding.
Let's listen to the record.
Yeah, okay.
All right,
Yeah,
here we
let's
go.
dive in.
Here we go. This is Real Friends. Is that you?
No, I'm at the end.
Real friends, how many of us? How many of us? How many jealous? Real friends, there's not many of us. We smile at each other, but how many honest? Trust issues, switch up the number. I can't be bothered, I cannot blame you for having an angle. I ain't got no issues, I'm just doing my thing. Hope you doing your thing too. I'm a deadbeat cousin, I hate family reunions. Fuck the church up by drinking at the communion. Spilling free wine, now my tux is ruined. In town for a date, what the fuck we doing? Who your real friends? We all came from the bottom. I'm always blaming you, but what's sad, you not the problem.
What's incredible to me about that tune is, again, it comes down to focus. There's no hi-hat. It's kick and snare sample.
So a friend of mine was is roommates with somebody who had engineered the most recent Kanye record, and he said that Kanye would come in on certain days and say, every song that has hi-hats, I want them out. And then a couple days later, he'd come back like, okay, we can put the hi-hats back in, and then take them out. But I think, yeah, he was, one term he used when I was in the studio with him, he's like, I'm looking for sonic cubism, was the term he used. I want sonic cubism. So I think that's what he was going for. It's crazy to me that this has 5 elements, right? It has a piano, a kick and snare, 2 vocalists, and then the vocalist. I'm not sure if that's Caroline Adelaide Shaw at the end or not, who's one of my heroes. Side note, if you've ever heard her music, she's incredible. She's worked on some of his songs. But it's like 5 elements and 25 writers. You know, if you look at the publishing, it's like there were 30 people involved in the creation of that. So to even have gotten, you know, on the outro, I have other friends like that who got to like, yeah, I got to work on this Kanye song. It's like this one sample, you know, this one little part that you get to do. It's cool.
I tried to make a list of every unique thing that I heard. There's the that like just sample thing.
Which is Frank Dukes, by the way.
Playing what?
That piano sample. He has this thing called the Kingsway Music Library, which is, he's just Frank Dukes is just this absurd producer. He's insane.
So that sound is one.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's 2 things. It's wah, 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 and then it's the chords. Boom, 1, minor 3, 4. Okay? So it's the chords, the kick, the snare, the vocals, the harmonies come in. There's a bass.
Yeah.
There's a short delay verb on the vox when he says certain words. Shit. Like in the background, like just short delay in verb. There's the piano at the end, the ooh at the end, and it sounds like there's a little bit of like extra harpy kind of stuff at the end too. That's it. It sounds like all the disparate stuff that I can hear in the entire song, start to finish. Should we do some factoids?
Yeah. Tim, what you got?
So this song was released as the promotional single from The Life of Pablo, which was an incredible album. It directly borrows from Frank Duke's Couches. The sample is looped to create the instrumental track. Kanye and Boy Wonder produced the track. Frank Dukes and Havoc co-produced. And we have some additional productions from some interesting people, such as Darren King. Woo! Mike Dean, Noah Goldstein, and Ty Dolla $ign engineered it, which is great to me to know that Ty Dolla $ign is like a super capable engineer. That's amazing. Such a talented guy.
And I found out that they were going to use, I'll never forget, I was walking around, I was on a little daddy-daughter date. My daughter was sitting on my shoulder. I got a phone call from Noah. And like, Darren, good news. We're going to use your song. We're going to use something you did on this, not your song. We're going to use your piano interpolation. And I was like, sick. When does it come out? He's like, it came out an hour ago. I'm like, okay, well then you have my permission. And that's both times that they've used anything of mine, it was like, hey, we used your shit. I'm like, yes. When is it out? It's out. Like, okay.
Wow.
Can we hear this original sample from Frank Duke's Couches? Here's the original sample.
Yeah. He's got this thing called the Kingsway Music Library that's full of tracks like this that people can sample.
Here we go.
It's like a minute or two and it happens it's a little later.
That's clearly a pitch shifted piano and upright bass, right?
So cool, yeah.
Some cymbals in the background?
Yeah. Wow. That's a cool
Really
sample.
cool.
I feel like it's a shame a little bit to have a drummer and then be talking about Kanye and not be talking about a few of the other songs where he...
What do you got?
Oh, geez, like what? All of the Lights? Is that, right? It's so busy.
Yeah.
It's so busy.
But you know what's amazing is the volume of the the volume of those ghost notes compared to the crash.
It's so rigid.
The
right?
backbeat has no ooh. It's like a B flat. So what is that, like 400, it's probably somewhere around 450 hertz or something like that. They turned up that frequency, 450 hertz, listen. It almost sounds like a
kind of thing.
Yeah. But then listen to the backbeats.
Yeah.
It's not the same sample. So the ghost notes are that tony kind of sample, and then the backbeats are that super crashy sample. Right?
How do you think they made that? That
Kanye uses
beat?
an ASR-10, which is what I started on too. It's this Ensoniq ASR-10 sampler. It came out with 8 megabytes of memory. You could max it out to 16. It was this keyboard sampler. It's awesome. It was, the ASR and the MPC are two of the great hip hop samplers. But I like the ASR because it's a keyboard. And you can play on it. And so he still uses that. That's his, from what I remember.
Hey, Tim, you got any more factoids about this song?
I got one more, is that good old Houdini. Remember Houdini? This directly recalls their track Friends.
Let's be friends, the word we use every day. Most of the time we use it in the wrong way. Now you can look the word up again and again.
The 80s, early 90s R&B group Houdini.
Friends.
Love them.
Right.
Yeah.
Such a good song. Should we get some questions from Discord?
Let's do some questions from Discord.
Okay. One of the things I've always liked about Pharrell's beats is the way they sound like a marching band. My favorite example of this is Bouncin' Back, Mystical. But All Right definitely has that sound too. What makes something sound like a marching band instead of just a regular beat?
Well, I suppose that'd be several people playing really tightly in unison. It's probably, that's it. Yeah, it's, I love marching bands, and I'm astounded by the precision, right? I think that when you get a really good marching band, it's the same thing that happens with an incredible choir that still has the slightest variation. And you know, like what makes a choir or a symphony amazing is the imperfection of pitch, but still being, you know, they're really in tune with each other. And I'd say that it's humans playing as perfectly as they can together, but still being humans that makes a marching band amazing.
Totally.
And then also, I guess with a marching band, you usually have a bigger disparity between the snares and the kicks, and you have tuned kicks and quads or quints. So you've got drums that are tuned with a really perceivable note value, and then also the snares usually are really high, cranked with this Kevlar head, right? Played way up, so the snares are way up here, the kicks, so there's this big, frequency disparity.
Totally.
Yeah, I would say if maybe it's three things. It's doubling or quadding or octupling the drums, so you get the kind of chorusy, flamming effect of the drums. It's the tone which you called out of the drums, like marching snares sound like marching snares. Marching kicks, those 24, 26-inch kicks sound like marching kicks. And then I think also an element to it is production as well, like reverb. Like if you put a stadium verb on quadded drums, it's going to sound like a drum corps. It's going to sound like a marching band.
Yeah, you very rarely hear a marching band in this sized studio.
Here's another question from the YouTube community, Ben Simmons. This is from Ben Simmons.
When Good luck with the 76ers, by the way, Ben.
When you were developing as a musician, did you pick up any bad habits? And if so, how did you get rid of them?
I did, and I think that this
That's a great question.
Yeah, I love it. The most shocking thing for me was how different it is to play live. You could practice in your house, in your garage for your entire life, and then the first time you play live, you will suck. And playing live is an entirely different feeling for so many different reasons. I'm thankful that I got to play in church so much. And the first time I ever played live, the song ended and everyone laughing at me. It fell apart. I'll never forget it. The guitar player of Mute Math and I grew up together, and he was the drummer. And I used to sit behind him, just cross-legged in our church, in our youth group. Well, one time he got sick at this special youth rally we were having, and he could not play. And they're like, Darren, you drum, right? I'm like, yes, I drum. I was 13. And there was this song, and it had a drum break in it. I was playing, it had like that. And I was so pumped, and my crush was the singer, and everything was, I was so, that I just sped up to a double. I didn't realize how much I was speeding up, that I went full double to like, I was like, and it was such a funny thing that I didn't realize, I was so oblivious to, that I remember she and everyone else just like, and the song just kind of train wrecked, and it was everyone laughing, and I didn't care. I got to play drums in front of people for the first time. I think that whenever I first started playing in a band, which the band was called Earthsuit at the time, which was Paul, prior to Mute Math, he had a band with another friend of his, or mine as well, named Adam. Roy was the bass player for it. And their drummer left, so I filled in. I was 19, I was 20, I was young, and I played tense. There is such a difference between playing with power and playing hard and playing with tension. And nerves would cause me to clamp. And I can play hard for hours. I can play tense for 3 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
I can play tense, and I'll never forget losing all of my, it's like my muscles were just completely gone by the first tune. I'll never forget the pressure, like, you know, Earthsuit has never had the inferior drummer. Like, look, that's the opening drummer, he's good, but we've got to be better. I'm like, okay. Yeah. And I remember putting craters, just moon craters, and just taking all the tone out of my drums. So that was it. It was about loosening up. And to me, that came from playing a groove over and over again, looping it and then getting cozy, and then you can play harder and harder and harder and still be tight with it. But that was the biggest thing that I did horribly at first, was nerves made me tense up. Every clench, just clench my jaw, clench my, that was it.
I'll offer something for my lessons in years and years of musicianship. I think the thing about bad habits and how to get rid of them is knowing when to not get rid of them. Some of my favorite musicians of all time had really weird habits that gave them a very specific tone on their instrument. Jamerson is one of them. One finger, like one finger on the bass, or Django Reinhardt, or you name it. There's musicians who approach their instrument in a different way, and because they didn't change that habit, they sounded unique. So the important thing about bad habits, at least that I have realized, is like, know which ones you like and which ones you don't. And keep the ones you like, even if there's the authority saying, "Whoa, that's not the way you play drums, you're playing backwards." Fuck you, I'm playing backwards. It gives me my own unique sound, and I'm gonna keep playing backwards.
Yes.
Like, I think it's so important to have at least a little bit of confidence to know, when am I gonna be me, and when am I gonna do my thing, and when am I gonna actually change it.
There's the patented Conti octave on top with the left hand. I mean, people are going to be doing that for years. No, it doesn't sound as good with your right hand.
It doesn't.
I literally, you were sick this last month, and we're not at a pocket session, and we had this amazing piano player who was playing for us, and I heard where you would have done this, the octaves above with the left hand, and he started doing it like this, and I was like, something's not right. I told him, I was like, okay, guys, I know it's going to be crazy, but can you try keeping the part in your right hand and playing and it was difficult. I felt so bad making him do it, but it didn't sound like you. Yeah, the first thing I thought of is noodling. I feel like intentional practicing is very difficult to just when you're practice. Sitting there at your instrument, not thinking, is not really practice. If you do that for 10,000 hours, you'll get somewhere, but it'll be, maybe not the place that you intended. So that's something that I try to think about a lot, that I've done, probably 10,000 hours of, is just sitting there doing something else with the guitar in my hand and noodling. So I think that's worth, trying to trim out, is just noodling, especially if you're a guitar player. Anyways, this has been Professional Musicians Reacting. If you like what you saw here, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We'll be back next week with another episode.
We're thinking about changing the title of the show. What do you think?
Ooh.
Is Professional Musicians React cheesy? Should we, all the other podcasts that talk about music and go deep on it, have cool names? Is Professional Musicians React?
Song Exploder.
Yeah, should we have a name like that? We're thinking about it. Let us know what you think. Should we change our name in the comments below? And we will see you next week.
See you next week.